PW Music. I'm Dr. Patrick Englert, and if you're still here, thanks for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the performance portion of this All-State audition resource video. For this video, we're focusing on selection 1 for the TMEA All-State audition on soprano clarinet, and that is the Allegro by Gambaro on page 25 of the Voxman Selected Studies. So, we started off with the performance, and now here are a few points to consider when you're practicing and preparing this etude. The first one, and I'm sure you'll find this anywhere you look, is start slow. And the way that I describe where you want to start with your practice is you want to start where you can play through a passage at 98 to 100%. Now that's a pretty tall order, but that means we need to start pretty slow. So experiment when you're first getting into this, or as you're practicing, if you need to go back and fix something, experiment with finding out where exactly that is. And sometimes that means it's gotta be really slow. And the silly way I put it is sometimes you need to go even stupid slow. So this is the way I describe that is like when you're frustrated and you just need to get through it and play the right notes, even if it's something like something even that slow. We're just getting through it, making sure that we have the right notes, the right rhythms, and then once we have that 98 to 100%, we can build from there, even if it is stupid slow. Number 2, when we are practicing etudes, we want to consider what the etude is wanting us to work on. And one of the big things that this etude is looking to make us work on is articulation. As we look through, we have all different manners of splitting up a group of 4/16 notes into different articulation patterns. Slurred, articulated, 1 articulated and 3 slurred, 2 and 2, so on and so forth. So the thing we want to focus on here is really making sure that we're paying attention to the articulation markings and that we're playing them as accurately as possible. So a couple of pitfalls that we're going to find with those. A big one here is what I'm going to call like lazy tongue at the end of slurs. And that is where we have an articulated note after a slur, not underneath it. So a good example here, we look right at measure 2. We have B natural slurred up to A flat, and then the F natural after it is staccato, not under the slur. So what we want is rather than. So what you should hear is that in the first one, the F natural is articulated. We have a beginning and an end. In the second one, I slurred into the F natural, but cut it off with my tongue to give the illusion that it was staccato and separate. So we need to be careful we don't fall into that pitfall of slurring into the next note and just cutting it off sharply so it seems like it was articulated. Another consideration for the articulation are the groups where it's 2 and 2, each group slurred. And what we want to do here is kind of pulse on each group, and that will help us keep the rhythm wrapped around the right way. I know I struggle with this pattern, especially the longer it goes. So if we're looking at like the 7th system of this etude, it's easy to get turned around and kind of lose where the beat is. So when we're playing this, we want to play something maybe like where there's a gentle pulse on it to help keep us wrapped around the beat the right way. Another consideration when working on this etude is don't be afraid to mark in your lefts and rights for your pinkies. There are a lot of situations in this etude where we need to be very mindful of how we're approaching something, especially working around the break as much as we are, and working in the key of C minor, where we're going to be playing C's, B naturals, E flats, all over the place. And if you can get through it without having to mark it and you're always set up, that's great. If you can slide and make it work and it's clean, great. But don't be afraid to mark it in and really focus on what your pinkies need to be doing at any given time. The last thing I want to highlight with this etude is once you've gotten through the fingers and the rhythms and starting to get a little bit of speed, we're starting to cook a little bit, don't be afraid to shape with your dynamics, use some rubato, generally phrase through this etude. This etude doesn't give us a whole lot with dynamics, And so if we're playing through 4, 8, even more measures, all at one dynamic, that's going to get pretty stale and boring. So if we follow the line, add some gentle crescendos, decrescendos, maybe a little bit of rubato, we can help make a little bit more of a musical statement and add to the overall polish of this etude. Hopefully this video helps you with your preparation of this etude. If there's anything that I missed or anything else you have a question on, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments, and make sure you subscribe so that you can catch when we get into the second and third selections, or if you're not in Texas, your own selection for wherever you may be.